going on, guys? My name is Brainsmasher. How are y'all doing? It's been a minute. I have been traveling and holidaying and all sorts of other things. The metal continues to flow. I was just in New York City for a minute promoting, first of all, this lovely garment. This is a design I made with pictures of my partner's jewelry. If you would like to adorn your horrid carcass with a shirt that looks like this, made by me, I'll hit a link down there for you. I was also in New York to promote my new poetry book, Sexual Bed Poems for the Nighttime Adult at Night by Brainsmasher. Speaking of, yeah, we got some zines here today. This is going to be a collection update. Even though I took my medicine today, I'm kind of feeling in full ADD mode. So that's going to make this collection update real interesting. So stick around. I got some cool stuff to show you. Second order of business is I have a new podcast. You love podcasts, right? Yeah, I just recorded episode number 7 yesterday, and it will be up tonight, probably. The reason for doing a podcast is that on this YouTube thing, I talk about physical medias, things I hold in my hand. There isn't very much music listening going on besides what's going on back there, which is very tumultuous currently. We're listening to Shub-Niggurath, the King-like celebration. The final Aeon on Earth. There you go. Are you gonna focus? Yeah. Yeah. So, podcast. On the podcast, instead of all talking and some looking, it is no looking and some talking and mostly music. I've just wanted to do something like that. I miss being able to do that on this channel. So that's what I'm doing. It's a little bit of talking, and I choose like 10 songs with kind of random various reasons for curations. It is available on Spotify, and I know Spotify is not great. Google Podcasts, which is going away in a couple months. The whole podcast scene is kind of, I know, it's a weird time to get in. But also, there's just like a plain old website that you can go to, and you can click play on it, and it just plays the episodes. It's free. Do it. Link down below. Actually, right here, right now, there's the link. Click on it, go to it, follow it, listen to it, enjoy it, support the music that I support if you like it. So, I've got a whole bunch of stuff from various meteors. We did the what's playing in the background. Tune in, I'm not sure when, sometime between Christmas and New Year's, I and the Heavy Metallurgy crew, I believe, are going to be doing our year-end list stream. I'm not really putting much effort into a year-end list thing, so whatever. But it's going to be hanging out. We're all going to be there talking about our favorites. That was fun last year, and hope you check it out and enjoy it. I've got a couple of zines. This one is last fanzine before Doomsday. You might know Sarah Kittringham from Banger TV. Recently moved to Finland and was back in Canada for a little visit. She dropped off some copies of her zine and mailed them out on the cheap, and I scooped it up. I like Sarah. I like what she does, and it's got some cool stuff in there. This is an album you all should be checking out, By Fire and Sword, by my man Jeff from Wield and Woe. Fuck! I've got a very, very Goodwill microphone stand set up here, so I'm going to knock it over a lot in this video. I haven't had a chance to read much. I can't read, by the way. But it's good. It was only $10 shipped. And, yeah, Sarah's good people, man. It's not too long. It's got plenty of pictures. Talks about Smolder a little bit. I just found out recently that a member of Smolder lives about half an hour that way or so. And then another one in the zine category. Have I talked about this yet? I don't think so. No, I picked this up October. Oh yeah, I mentioned travel. Did you know I have ADD? I've been in New York, Chicago, and Minneapolis all within the last month. This one I picked up in Minneapolis when I was there for Tanner's wedding from Obsequii, my good friend. You might recognize this artwork by none other than Brad Smith, who did Worm stuff. This zine is called Botched Orchiectomy, and I picked this up at Extreme Noise. Pretty good. It's chock full, all just nasty, scummy death metal atrocities. Interviews, reviews, shit tons of pictures. Oh, did you see Eternal Darkness in there? This band absolutely rules. Alright, a couple of zines. Some of this stuff, my listening has been kind of all over the place. I've been kind of, yeah, I don't know, feeling around other genres. Not as much metal going in my ear holes as usual. In fact, I put together a noise playlist the other day just for the fuck of it. It's like 5 hours long. If you want to follow me along on Spotify, A, for the podcasts, and B, for the millions of playlists I put together. I think I'm on playlist like number 52 or something. I know, that's what I mainly think Spotify is worthwhile for. So, I have one tape. This is an OG press of something that I kind of never thought I would be able to get my hands on. But I believe it was like 12 bucks. Wow. Yeah, Unholy Trip to Depressive Autumn. I fucking love Unholy. A little typo on the back. Does this do it? No, it doesn't do it. Anyways. Yeah, this is pretty good. It's very amateurish. They wound up being a lot better than what's on this tape. But still, for the Wild Rags collector that I am, this is cool to pick up for a mere $12. Hell yeah. Shall we check out some compact discs? Shall we? So this was... if you showed me this without hearing it, I would not buy it, and I would tell you to throw it away, probably. And I kind of feel like that's an ongoing theme of my channel here. The band is called Endless, with Beauty, Tears, and Setting Sun. Ain't that the truth? Came up on a recommendation from YouTube, and I liked the riffs, and I found a copy for like $2 or something, because it's just a promo thing. It's kind of like some Sweet Death. I'm not sure really where they're from, but this thing riffs. It's really got some good riffs. So starting it off kind of at the bottom of the barrel there. Pavement put it out in like '99. It's super melodic, but it's got a lot of big, I don't know. It's kind of like a good version of a lot of bad stuff that came out around the melodic death metal kind of scene. More bouncy, less brutal and shreddy than a lot of that kind of stuff, but it really kind of hit, and scratched an itch that I didn't know I had the very day that I came across it. Also, I bought 3 copies of this. I liked it so fucking much. You all probably have heard of Electric Wizard and heard them and thought, yeah, whatever, I get it, I know. But so, before they were Electric Wizard, they had a lot of incarnations, and this is a compilation of 3 of those bands. They were Eternal, Thy Grief Eternal, and Lord of Putrefaction. And I am really keen on the Thy Grief Eternal stuff. That is some funeral doom with the tone the signature tone, kind of Electric Wizard. I think these guys are great at coming up with a masterful doomy tone. I do also love Dope Throne quite a bit. So it's cool to hear them a little proto, early kind of stuff, more deathy, more... I guess I don't really feel like there's anything stonery about that demo in particular. But what happened was they sent me the wrong disc, some compilation with a bunch of fuzzed out, I don't know, obscure Somber Records Jazz Doom compilations. I don't know. So then I got on my phone and I ordered one copy, and then the next day I ordered another copy on accident. So I've basically bought 3 fucking copies of it. I'm very excited because this arrived in the mail just yesterday, and I ordered it quite a while ago. This has been back ordered for a while. One of my top 5 album of the year, Malokarpatan, Marshmallow Captain, from Slovakia. You probably saw my review on Heavy Metallurgy. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I'll put a link down below. I pretty much said everything I had to say about this album on that video. There's not a whole lot to look at here, but it is a wonderful masterpiece. Throwing back tons of older styles of 70s psychedelic rock, occult metal kind of stuff. Really runs the gamut. It ropes in so many different styles. I think this is a super cool achievement for the band. I don't know where you go from an album like this, but it's incredible. I'm going to be doing an interview with this band for the next issue of Grimtooth's Very Metal Things. Actually, not the next. The one that's coming out soon is going to have my interviews with Undeath and Sanguishugabog, and maybe even, I think, an interview with Galder from Atlanta, Georgia. At some point it'll be in there. I don't know. And then we are also working on, right now, this is what it is. There was a band from Los Angeles called Darkness, and they kind of came up in the scene around the time that these guys did. They're close with Sadistic Intent. So they're known as Darkness LA. They have a couple of rehearsal tapes out there, super obscure stuff. But we have gotten our hands, me and Grimtooth, me and my collective homie, we've gotten our hands on some live footage of that band, and we got those rehearsal tapes and stuff. We're putting together maybe a double cassette reissue of all their stuff, and then we're going to be putting together a DVD of live footage, which for me that's where it's at. I haven't heard the rehearsal stuff yet, but the live DVD it floored me. It truly floored me. I'll put a clip in here for you to enjoy. Yeah, right? That shit was good. So that was live at the Whiskey Go-Go in '98. But these guys have been around since the '80s. And just kind of never really got their footing, never really got like a full length or a following. It's what I'm learning, I guess. So I work with Miguel, one of the members of the band, and we talk about the old days of metal all the time, and he tells me all these stories. And like what I'm gathering is like, it seems like nobody might have had the money to record a lot of stuff back then, so it was all about just like playing shows, getting together with your friends. And so like a lot of heads from back then remember the times and the songs and the stories and stuff, but they're just like, for someone like me who's lived in Iowa his whole life, I've got no connection to that. So it's so amazing to have run across a coworker of mine who was in LA in the 80s, toured with Possessed, has shared members with Sadistic Intent, was buddies with Jesse Pintado before he joined Terrorizer and all that. Friends with Pete Sandoval before he joined Orbit Angel. What a strange, cool thing. So it's been cool making a new friend from way back. Way back. So I'm pretty stoked about that. And then we're going to be doing an interview with him for the zine. And we're getting everything out of this guy. We're gonna sit around, we're gonna have a couple beers, and we're just gonna shoot the shit on my channel. We're gonna do a video where he just tells old stories and we talk about it. So I'm looking forward to that. I also got Vertumnus Caesar on CD. There you go. A couple more vinyl. My band Tony from Life Eternal sent me a little care package with this in it. That Primordial, the Heresy of an Age of Reason. Heresy of an Age of Reason, yeah. I love this band. My first foray into their discography was Where Only the Seasons Mark the Paths of Time and Life Remains Eternal. This is one of their later records, but this is Swedish black metal of the highest order. You might know this guy, Morth, Jukka Peterson from Regurgitate on the Skins. Also played in Nidden Division and also played in Dawn. So this is cool. It's very riffy. These guys were masters at what they did. They never put out any shit material. They broke up before that ever happened. They just left like a solid, flawless discography. Not that they're like amazing or anything. They aren't super original, but like as far as the Swedish black metal goes, these guys are way more upwards in the pantheon of your Dawns and your Sorhins, the guys that actually had riffs, rather than the shit like Dark Funeral, who I talk shit about all the time. I don't hate Dark Funeral. I just feel like they are boring. That's all I need to really get into. Also decided to just pick up randomly this guy, mostly because it was really on the cheap, but I do love this band and this album. Purgatory, Afterglow, Edge of Sanity. You know, this is one of those bands I'm thankful that we have not forgotten this band. They were kind of landlocked on Black Mark for so long, and a lot of their stuff didn't get reissued, isn't super in print. But I've been really happy to see a lot of people, younger people, champion this band, being how easy it would have been to forget about them because their stuff hasn't been in print for so long. So Purgatory Afterglow might not be the heaviest, deathliest kind of thing. I feel like this is kind of where Dan Swano wanted to show off his kind of like more proggy ideas, more like not really as far as like technical musicianship or anything, but I feel like he wanted to try out some new ideas for song structure, arrangement, styles, and stuff like that. And so it led to some very like catchy, memorable, hooky songs that are just so good. They just have such a nice, palatable diversity to them. Love it. A couple CDs, then a couple vinyls, and then I'll get out of your hair. I'm very sorry. SNT Young is one of my favorite YouTube channels. I don't get the chance to watch a lot of YouTube these days. But he did this video the other day where it was like his favorite releases from '93, I think. And this is a band that I've kind of like circled around, tried to like. There's one thing I just can't get past. It's the horrendous vocals of Lee Dorian. And this is the Ethereal Mirror. Cathedral. Oh, that reminds me. I got another zine. Oh well, I'm not able to find it, but the new Decibel issue, I'm sure a lot of you saw it. Austin from Panopticon was on the cover, and they did like throwback Hall of Fame thing to this album. So I'm working out, I'm listening to S&T Young, Steve Young, talk about albums from '93, and he's playing this in the background. There's something about like him talking over it, kind of like drowned out Lee Dorian's vocals, and I was able to like really focus on the music here, and it's fucking awesome. I love the heaviness of the overall production going on. The riffs are excellent. Really, everything is absolutely great about this album, but I just cannot take Lee Dorian's vocals. I think Lee Dorian's vocals might have a place in a different style of music. Maybe something more like along the lines of a Pentagram or something, which I know isn't like a super far cry from what this band is like, but just, this is such a missed opportunity. Like, what if someone like Dan Swano sang for an album like this? Is that too much to ask? That would have been awesome. Is there an album out there that sounds like the Ethereal Mirror with Dan Swano on vocals? Not that I know of, but yes. So this was one of my favorites from last year. I didn't pick up a copy of it because it only came out on vinyl back then, and I thought, well, I'll never get that. So now it's out on CD again. I'm not sure if this newer pressing is sold out or what, but this is Solar Cross with To the Ever Gleaming Pinnacle of Timeless Mastery. I did play a song from this on my last podcast episode. I mean, come on, what do you think that sounds like? Very culty, very in the woodsy kind of black metal kind of stuff. It's really good. Really, really, really good. It's a solo project. I mean, there's nothing original about this other than the fact that it's super good. All the instruments are audible. Sounds pretty good. The tone is there. I've really got no complaints about it whatsoever. It's awesome. It's U.S. atmospheric black metal the way it really ought to be. Next, this is a band from Japan. Domo, arigato. Mush Mushi. So this is called, the band's called Eroded, and this is their only full length in the full length. It kind of sucks. It sucks. It came out in '93. The reason I got this though is the second disc on here has their demo '92, promo '92, promo '93, and unreleased demo '93. Bunch of unreleased demo stuff. I was a little underwhelmed by the unreleased demo stuff. Basically, I bought this merely because of the disc 2 demo '92. I'll put a link down below for you to check that out. That thing smokes. Absolutely rules. It's grindy. It's like absolutely Terrorizer grind. It's so beautiful, but it's such a fleeting moment. It's so short. It goes away so quickly, and I could listen to this kind of stuff for hours on end. Also notable is that the singer for this band wound up being in 324. Hopefully you've seen me pull this out a couple of times because this is one of the most fantastic grind releases there ever was. This is called Customized Circle. Came out in, I don't know. Don't ask me questions when I'm conducting my YouTube video. There's a CD version. Yeah, this has no years on it at all. There's a CD version of this with a different artwork and more songs on it that's totally worth picking up, and you can get it for probably 15 bucks or something. I'll put it right here. Check it out. So, definitely can't recommend this shit enough. If there was a full length of this material, like the Demo 92 material, it would be up there, I think, like with your Repulsions, Terrestres, your what am I? Not Sore Throat. Don't Be Swindle. What is that band? That band, the Japanese grind SOB. That's what it is. I liked that band a long, long time ago. Here is the second copy of this fucking thing. Okay, had to order this from Greece. Finally got this in. Sacred Outcry, Towers of Gold. Everything's a reflection. Yeah, hopefully you know that I am Stan. If I was allowed only one album on a desert island and I couldn't eat it, it would be Lost Horizons Awakening the World. I think that would sustain me pretty well. And the vocalist on Lost Horizons Awakening the World has been mostly dormant until joining this fantastic Euro power metal outlet, Sacred Outcry. This is definitely not better than Lost Horizon, but this is very, very competent and great, and it is again a showcasing of Daniel's. It's proof, furthermore, that Daniel is the most fantastic power metal vocalist currently alive. I think that's, without question, I think that's easy to say. It's a weird thing that he hasn't played in really many notable bands. He isn't in a band that has 1 million albums like your fucking Iced Earth or Blind Guardians or Ed Guys or whatever people listen to in your Euro power metal worlds. But this is a shining star upon that. Musically, I don't really know. I've only listened to it maybe twice through or so. I can't really put my finger on any like similarities that they have with specific power metal bands out there. They're maybe like less catchy and theatrical than something like a Rhapsody or Luca Turilli, which is a big touch point for me in the genre. They're just kind of straightforward Euro power metal with tons of melodicism, tons of shreddy riffs. They're just super talented musicians. The production is great. It's an otherwise very, very competent but slightly average power metal album with the top metal vocalist in all of like clean singing. So check that out if that sounds at all good to you. If you think that power metal vocalists sound tired and stupid and bored, I would invite you to check out anything that he sang on for proof otherwise. It's a genre that I find really tired and don't really visit very often, but the album Awakening the World by Lost Horizon it exists in every vein in my stupid piece of shit body. It truly does. Couple more records that don't sound anything like one another. Dripping Decay with Festering Grotesqueries. I'll admit, this cover signed me up. Yes. I love this cover art. Picked this up from Melanie. Melanie loves death metal. This is a pretty one. Did your copy? I'm not too bent out of shape about this, but if you got this, did yours do this? I don't know. I probably my mailman probably left it out in the rain or something. It's a piece of color. Oh yeah, we got purple. Purple splatter. So this is the newest thing from the dude from Lord Gore. Bunch of other stuff. That's just like where I know him from. But this is like good, sloppy, chunky, kind of HM2-ish kind of stuff. But there's a lot of like silly, fun, blasty, grindy kind of stuff going on here too. It's super fun. Great stuff. I don't really know much about this label, but I kind of get the feeling like if this was on Maggot Stomp or something of that ilk, I feel like this would have been way bigger. I think this is absolutely phenomenal record. And that cover art, you cannot deny the beauty of that cover art. And then something completely different. I don't know if this is... No, I do know. This has gotten issued on vinyl a couple times over the years. And they changed the cover artwork, so I didn't really care. But this just took me right back. Yeah, this is the greatest Dungeons synth album that's ever made. That will never be topped. Fel Herka by Mortis. So Out of Season put this guy out. I think it's limited to 3 hundo. But they kept intact so much of the original artwork, and that was pretty important to me on a release like this. I've always had the malicious CD version, and I just think this is such an iconic visual artist in the genre that it's so important to show what he was and did back then. Although there's no ears. It's got this poster. Another iconic thing. I think this is worth hanging up with these stupid little goblins. Yeah, that's a great poster. I was telling somebody, my friend Emily actually bought this, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna snag one of those too. Gold, vinyl. I was saying to her, I think, like, sure, this is a phenomenal record because it uses a lot of contextual sampling to illustrate the atmosphere of being lost in the castle or wandering the woods of many centuries ago or whatever. But what I think really sets it apart is that there's this hypnotic, repetitive, just cadence to the whole record that works in like a Tangerine Dream kind of way, and that for me is, I think, what's necessary, or like the most powerful element of an album like that, to really take me away from where I am, to really take me to another place, to imagine a time and a place that isn't my current environs, and that's why that album is so special. And I wish other Dungeon synth artists would try and make a balance between those two sorts of areas. I really think that's where the magic of that happens. I think maybe some artists might try for that, but just wind up being really boring. But that's where, like, the genius of Tangerine Dream really was. They knew how to make repetitive, subtle songs that were enrapturing and engaging and never lost you. So couple more releases, pretty stellar stack here still yet. I feel like this is a pretty good stack overall. I've gotten a ton of stuff in. There's a ton of stuff I'm not showing. It's just like scattered everywhere. It's a mess. It's in my car. It's everywhere. So I've been really like digging around in early 80s, I don't know, proto death metal, like the very earliest stages of that kind of stuff. And I wound up tripping across this release where someone had said, like, a case could be made that this, along with Death, Scream Bloody Gore, and Possess 7 Churches, could be said that this is like where death metal began. And I was really surprised that I've never heard anyone talk about this band or release. And I found a copy of it for super cheap on Discogs. You ever heard of Terminal Death? Obviously stealing a font from somebody who is known for starting black metal. But yeah, this is killer. This is from Chicago. Shadow Kingdom put this thing out. So it's got a demo 85 with 6 tracks on it, a rehearsal 85, and then another rehearsal. I'll be honest, the rehearsals sound like crap. This is super solid material, though. I do not disagree with the claim that this is, you know, worth entertaining the idea that they were one of the very first to like really take thrash into a new realm. So there's booklets, tons of photos in there. I feel like there's Paul Speckman probably had a hand in this at some point, or like it turned into Devastation or something like that. I want to say maybe I was listening to like Funeral Bitch, and that got me tripped up on this or whatever. I don't know. I haven't spent a lot of time with this, but yeah, upon putting it in, I was like, yeah, this sounds like where death metal began. So look out for that. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. I want to say this demo has been remastered because it sounds really good. Not a super amazing studio or anything, but like for as shitty as the rehearsals sounded and how like low budget everything else on this thing is, the demo sounds really good. It's worth the money. Been after this one for a really long time. So when I was in New York City, I visited Material World Records. I'm gonna do a video about that coming up. I'm doing a series where I'm showing some of the record stores that are like that I like and that are unique. Look out for that. So a little bit of a snippet about Material World there. But I got to digging around and I got a copy of this Devastation Idolatry. So reissue artwork. I know it's kind of cheesy, but the original artwork really isn't that great either. But my man Dave, who I talk about metal with every single day, this is his favorite thrash album of all time. And I've never had a copy of it, and I've never really spent much time listening to it. So, stoked to have found this copy there at Material World. Their prices are awesome. I was surprised, I found that everything in New York City was very affordable. I don't know, people say everything's expensive, but you're going to the wrong places. And especially Material World, I got a stack of shit for like $75. Anyways, this rips, this fucking rules. I like my thrash a little less unrelenting, I guess. I mean, this is really, really like your Demolition Hammer level of energy and riffing. I tend to like it a little more airy, a little more monochromatic, like your Devastation or your Destruction. But this absolutely rips. This is definitely one of those albums that was getting to be a death metal band, but not quite. It's kind of death thrash. But if you haven't heard this and you love thrash, dude, absolutely phenomenal. And lastly, before we part ways, I've been after a copy of this for many years since it came out. I'm not sure how I even ever discovered this. I've never heard anyone talk about this band, but I'm going to do it right now. I'm a trailblazer, baby! The band is called Progenie, Terrestre, Pura, and the album is called UMA. So lots of outer space station technology kind of sound references going on here. The nearest reference I would say that this has would be atmospheric black metal. But I've never really heard anything like this. I feel like there's probably a little constellation of lesser known black metal artists who are kind of touching upon this kind of astral sort of space-themed black metal. In fact, Al Rackus is an artist that kind of comes to mind, but that is more like corpse-painted, spiky bat kind of stuff still. But this is like vending machines on the space station type shit. Getting a space-age candy bar made out of fucking weird apples and stupid poop chocolate kind of stuff. Like this is really fancy. But yeah, the songwriting is super unique. They integrate the layering of keyboards in a really, really inventive way. I just think it's super good the way that their riffs will kind of like fade off, and there's like a more, I don't know, synthy part. So it does rely upon a lot of like non-metal elements going on. And I feel like in a lot of areas, this kind of thing would probably meander off into more of like a techno or industrial kind of thing. And there's none of that cliche type of shit here. And like, I feel like that's where like a lot of you guys are probably seeing this and being like, oh, but that's like Covenant or like some sort of industrial. Gonna stop. So yeah, I feel like a lot of you guys are probably thinking this has a lot of stupid cliche sort of industrial moments or techno kind of things, but really it's all about lending the atmospherics that make the somewhat intense black metal moments land perfectly. It's really, really good. Give it a listen if that sounds interesting to you. It's came out on Avant-Garde in 2014. It's not super rare. It's just that like no one has this. No one cares to pay attention to this thing. Copies of this were usually around the like $25 mark or so, because I feel like all the copies landed in the hands of people who wound up liking it. But outside of that, there just aren't a lot of them moving around. I don't know. Maybe Avant-Garde has them sitting dead in a distro or something, but I don't know. I've never heard anyone really mention this at all, but it's worth checking out. It's cool. So this definitely is going to be the last video for my channel for the year. Don't count me out just yet. So yeah, glad to be back into it. We will see what happens with our year-end stream coming up here. And yeah, we'll see you next time later. Thanks for watching. Woohoo! That was a great video, and it was made possible mostly by me, but also thanks to the undying and kind support of my Patreon subscribers. Thank you all. I love you. If you are interested in being a part of my Patreon channel and supporting what I do, you are welcome to join at the URL below. It is only $6.66 per month, and you're going to love it. Thank you.